Good evening, everybody. This is the Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. This is today's date's Monday, July 15th, 2024. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunday, have you had a chance to take roll?
I've taken roll. Everyone is present. You have the quorum.
We'll move on to personal appearances this evening. The first personal appearance this evening is an employee special recognition recognizing Captain Brian Allen for graduating the 580th Northwestern University Center for Public Safety School of Police Staff and Command. I believe Chief Thomas has a message. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Captain Allen is here with us. I'd like for him to come up. Embarrass him a little bit, maybe. Brian went through a class that he'd been putting in for some time, and it's a 10-week class that's probably one of the most extensive and difficult training that you'll ever go through in law enforcement. It goes through everything for command. It's a command college, and it's a master's level program. They go through, I think it's 16 credit hours in 10 weeks, right, 16? Yep. It takes not only all day commitment, all week long, every evening, both days on the weekends. It's a tremendous commitment. He says he put down 8 hours each day. I promise you it was a lot more. I just wanted to thank him. He's been in law enforcement for 26 years. He's been at Kearney and just got promoted to captain. We're really glad to have him. He's bringing a tremendous amount of information and knowledge and forward thinking from this training that he received, and we're very appreciative of him going and making the commitment, most importantly. So thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Captain Allen, are you the first member of the police department to go through this training?
First from the city of Kearney.
Great. Well, I know it was long nights and took away from your family time and everything. The city administrator, police chief myself, was honored to attend your graduation service, and I sincerely appreciate your continued dedication and glad we could afford you this opportunity. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Next is, and I'm sorry, Mr. Lawrence, I always butcher your last name, sir. And
You're not the only one.
but we have our executive director from the Kearney Richmond Council here to give an update on Oktoberfest. And you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Last time I was here, I was brand new to the position and had the unfortunate responsibility to tell you that the County Richmond Council would not be doing the Oktoberfest in 2024. Having now been in the job a month longer, I'm able to tell you it looks very likely that we will be holding an Oktoberfest in conjunction with the city, the Chamber of Commerce and the Knights of Columbus. When I was here, I reported that the two main problems we had were financial and volunteers, and the city has stepped up wonderfully. I thank everybody that's been involved in the negotiation for that. And as far as the volunteers go, they're coming forward now. I wish they had of 6 or 8 weeks ago so that I didn't have to do the last announcement, but we are now seeing them. What we have done is we've changed the footprint for the Oktoberfest, and at this stage we look like being able to hold it between 1st and 2nd Streets, close those streets off, and contain it to the Lions Park area, but maintain about the same level of involvement with the community. We've also changed the hours. We're moving it from noon to 5 based on the information that your geofencing reports gave us. So at 5 o'clock it dies anyway, so there's no point in us carrying on for another 3 hours as we had before. At this stage, the bands and dancers will be set up on the road, on the asphalt, so that it won't upset the park. and bounce houses and the like will be the same. They'll be on pavement rather than on the grass, so we wouldn't upset Lions Park at all. I've just said that we are 90% of the way to having an agreement that this will happen, and it will happen in the way I've just described it. It's probably closer to 98%. There's a couple of little hurdles, and I'm waiting on a couple of quotes that I wish insurance brokers worked a little faster, but I don't have control over that one, so we will get it. So all in all, 98% good news. There will be Oktoberfest with the Kearney Enrichment Council on the 12th of October this year.
Great.
Happy to do any questions.
I'm just glad that you rethought about that and looked at it and everybody came together, and I think it'll be a good event.
The back of my head is now flat, so yes, I learned.
No, great update. Yeah, I think this is an event that the community enjoys and supports, and is a really good event for our community and our businesses. We don't have a formal item. Part of that is for the city to provide some additional assistance for the Oktoberfest. There's nothing this evening. I believe we are waiting on maybe a budget and some items from the Enrichment Council.
Exactly.
But I sincerely appreciate you and your volunteer board working with the chamber and the Knights and city staff and figuring this out.
And we appreciate the city. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Cheers.
Next, we have Tyler Reardon with Republic Services, our trash and recycling vendor, to provide, at the board's request, a trash and recycling services update. Good to see you, Tyler.
Good to see you. Thanks, Mayor,
Yes.
council, staff. First off, I want to introduce our general manager. Some of you guys have met him before, David Baker. He started in June of 23 here in Kansas City after being the GM at Oklahoma City for a couple years with Republic. So the topic of conversation today is we met with Sheila regarding the proposed addendum implementing liquidated damages. We are not for adding that addendum. As there's language in the contract already that allows the city to get out of the contract if it wishes. It has a right to cure period of 30 days after official notice. And there's kind of some checks and balances on, verifying missed pickups and all that. I think we're getting better at that. I was actually emailing Molly today. One thing we've kind of noticed is there might be a discrepancy between people that call into City Hall and then people that call into our customer service. I think your guys' direction has always been call City Hall. But I think there's still a few that call into CRC, so, I'm trying to get a good read on actually how many missed pickups there were. Obviously I can only have access to my databases and everything, so that's why I'm leaning on Molly a little bit to give me some of the missed logs. But just some kind of process things that we want to implement is, first off, Sheila said that she doesn't consider Monday a missed pickup day because that's your service day. More than likely we're going to try to pick up everything throughout the night. So the missed pickups will start on Tuesday mornings. We would then have 24 hours to pick up those missed pickups. But we are always going to prioritize servicing those missed pickups on Tuesday. But per the contract, we would have through Wednesday. But we have truck resources up in this area on Tuesday. So we think we can hit that 24-hour window that I spoke to last time I presented here. And then, I just kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on driver interaction. Would it be beneficial if a driver came in to City Hall every Tuesday? I know Monday might be a little bit of a push just because more than likely there's not going to be missed pickups reported on Monday. So if one of our, NASIS or DASI drivers that, the City Hall is familiar with would stop in on Tuesday, would that be something that could add value there as far as making sure those missed pickups get collected on Tuesday?
So I'm looking for an explanation on why contracts are contracts. We're in a legal binding contract. Obviously, we allowed a change to benefit you guys.
Yeah.
Like we did our part, and it's like you guys aren't doing your part, right? And so for you to basically come and say, draw a line in the sand and say, hey, we don't give a shit about the city of Kearney and their residents. We're not going to do what you want to do. This wasn't an issue or a problem until you guys changed how you picked up our residents' trash, right? You went to the wolf pack, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's when all these issues started to happen. So for me to hear that you guys are basically saying, we don't care, right? You're not the ones that take the calls from the residents. We get way more calls, quite frankly, because your call center is horrible. Horrible customer service. It's a bad experience all around.
Okay.
And it's taken staff's time. We're constantly going out replacing, doing pickups, we're going out having to replace bins that drivers are damaging. Quite frankly, I don't want to speak for the entire board, but if you guys aren't willing to work with us or implement any changes that would help us improve your service or at least penalize you for you not doing what you're supposed to do, then quite frankly, I have no use to have any more conversation here. And my recommendation to the board is going to be to cancel the contract, and we'll look at different options. We will find a better solution and option for our residents that they pay you guys for a service.
Yep.
They should, customer service 101. Anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You mind if I say something?
Are you willing to change our contract?
So, not willing to go.
Okay,
to go
have a good
in
night,
on
sir.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Any items of discussion or questions on the consent agenda this evening?
Make a
No.
motion to approve. Oh,
If not, we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. We'll move on to ordinances. The first ordinance this evening is a motion approving bill number 29, 2024, presented by Sheila Ernzen, our city administrator. An ordinance amending chapter 215 nuisances, chapter 232 public tree care, and chapter 510 streets, sidewalks, and other public places of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Kearney, Missouri. See Sheila?
This evening is the ordinance that would adopt the changes that we addressed and went over at the last meeting. I did make one change from what was in the last meeting packet, and that was at your request. I took out the language that expands our ordinance to half a mile outside of the city limits.
Any questions from the board on the proposed ordinance to staff? If not, if we could read the proposed ordinance first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 215 nuisances, Chapter 232 public tree care, and Chapter 510 streets, sidewalks, and other public places of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Kearney, Missouri.
Move to approve on first reading.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 215 nuisances, Chapter 232 public tree care, and Chapter 510 streets, sidewalks, and other public places of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Kearney, Missouri.
Make a motion to approve on second read.
Second.
Poll the board, please.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Alderwoman Barger. Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous and ordinance passes on the second reading. Next ordinance this evening is a motion approving bill number 30, 2024, presented by Eric Marshall, our Parks and Recreation Director. An ordinance approving a financial assistance agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant in the amount of $504,653. Eric, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The financial assistance agreement included in your packet is just that, allowing the city of Kearney to receive federal grant money through the Land and Water Conservation Fund for the Hull Park project that has been on the books that we've been planning for a number of years, and that's what the ordinance states.
Any questions from the board of staff of the proposed ordinance? If not, if we could read the proposed ordinance first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving a financial assistance agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant in the amount of $504,653.
Move to approve on first reading. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving a financial assistance agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant in the amount of $504,653.
Make a motion to approve on second read.
I'll second.
Poll the board, please.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Alderwoman Barger.
Aye.
Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous and ordinance passes on the second reading. We have no resolutions this evening. Next item is our June monthly financial report presented by our finance director, Stephanie Harris. Stephanie, you have the floor.
Good evening. In review of the financials, again, third month, June is the third month of our fiscal year. We're 25% of the way through. Most expenses and revenues look right where we expect them to be. There are some timing differences that will show up, meaning like we do all the transfers at the beginning of the year, so they're 100% of the budgeted amount. But other than that, there isn't a lot to report at this time of the year. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the board on the enclosed statement, financial report from our director? Thank you for the report.
Very well.
Thank you. We'll move on to mayor's communications. First, I would like to congratulate our Parks Department and taxpayers in the city. Our Jesse James Trail specifically was recognized as Best of the Northland top 3 in the trails section. So we all know our trails are wonderful. Staff does a really good job of maintaining those trails. So kudos to staff, and thank you, Eric, to you and your staff for maintaining those trails. And it's always good to see that the fruits of your labor are appreciated. I guess the next thing I'll say is I hope I wasn't acting out of character this evening with Republic. I'm obviously quite frustrated. I hear the residents. We, all of us staff get calls and emails constantly, and so it's very unfortunate that. To me, a working relationship could go both ways, and I don't think the board's request of penalizing a company that gets paid very well for doing a job when they're not fulfilling their end of the deal. I don't know what else to do to try to get them to provide better service, but we'll find another solution. We'll figure out. We're committed to figuring out one way or another, whether it's Republic or another provider, getting that service improved. So that concludes my mayor's communications. We'll move on to our city administrator's report.
The next regular board meeting will be on Monday, August 5th at 6:30 p.m. right here. And the only other item I wanted to mention, we are competing for a Planning Sustainable Places grant. And we are looking for, one of the scoring mechanisms includes public comments and public support. And so if citizens will go on to our Facebook page, pinned at the top is a post asking with a link going directly to where people can comment. And it's as simple as just saying, I support this project. We pulled way out ahead, and now I see Lee Summit has surpassed us, but I know we can do it. And of course, they're a city much larger than we are, and I still think that we can beat them.
I noticed a Kearney resident who happens to be a city planner was sharing some social media posts to trying to get his residents too. So we got to give Mr. Shannon a hard time next time we
I
see
feel
him.
like he copied off of us.
I think he did, actually. I felt the same way when I saw his post. I thought, I'm going to give him a hard time.
So, That's all I have tonight, Mayor.
All right, we'll move on to Alderman discussion. Alderman Barger?
I actually have a couple of things tonight. I noticed, and this is probably more informational for myself, I noticed there was a dead tree on 19th Street at the interchange. And I was wondering who is responsible for the health of those trees at this point? Is the city responsible for replacing those trees?
We've not, and Shelley, you can,
They're under contract still.
Yeah, so-
There's a maintenance contract on them, and there is one dead one.
that's
Yeah.
why there hasn't been any new grass planted and stuff.
Okay.
There's, now it's, when it's,
It's too
That-
hot.
yeah, right.
I get it. I just wondered if the city was now responsible for that tree or if it was still MoDOT that's.
No, that tree is the city's contract, but we will let them know.
Okay.
And on the city roundabout contract at Nation Road, their subcontractor came out this spring and did reseed, and that's why it looks a little better than the MoDOT job, because they didn't hit MoDOT when they were there on the grass, so they're gonna have to come back this fall on both projects, but just isolated areas by the roundabout
Okay.
and the tree as well.
That particular roundabout, that was my second question. That particular roundabout, I believe we approved a plan for native grasses and plants and stuff. Is that in the budget? Are we doing that?
It's been done. We checked the seed mix and it takes 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
So
Okay.
we have to be patient, and
You know,
the
that's not
reward,
my forte.
the reward is going to be lovely.
Good, all right. And then I would also add to the mayor's comment about the trails. I've had a little more time on my hands recently, and I've been able to enjoy the trails. And if, as a resident, you haven't been able to enjoy those trails, you should do yourself a favor. Maybe not this week, because it's a little warm, but they're really lovely, and the Arboretum is a treasure that not everybody gets to enjoy. So I would highly recommend going out and enjoying the trails.
Alderman Lehman?
Only thing, couple things, I too, beside myself as far as Republic, their willingness to work with us. I still get, it was in Osceola, Missouri, and I'm still getting texts and emails about trash, and it's like, come on, people, you say you've made changes, but we're not seeing changes in the service. And so I tried to send those on to city staff, but I will say that internet service is spotty down there, so I don't think they went through. But the other thing, we've got a lot more people out on our trails. We would just like to say to be careful. The snakes are moving right now. I was again in southern Missouri, and the copperheads are very active right now. So rattlesnakes it's their time of year. They're sunning, basically. They're trying to stay warm. But just remind our citizens to be ever mindful of the venomous snakes, because they do hurt. So that's all I have.
Alderman Holt?
I have something I want to say in light of what happened Saturday in Pennsylvania. During this election season that we have, everybody has differences of opinions, and it's okay. It's okay to talk about them openly, regardless what party we come from. And please keep in mind that when everybody has a difference of opinion, it's just that. And I think sometimes in our drive for our opinions, we have a tendency of going over the line, and sometimes it turns violent, and as we've seen this week, sometimes it can turn deadly. I just would ask that we treat everyone with respect and civility, and everybody's entitled to have their own opinions. And I just pray that we don't have an incident like that here. and that through this election season, that this will tamper down. I just wanted to share that with the city.
Alderman Keene?
Congratulations, Brian. That's it.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
We do have an executive session notice this evening, a closed session per RSMO 610021, subsection 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employee will be discussed or recorded in 610021, subsection 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment. And just a reminder, our meeting will be adjourned from there. So this does conclude our public open session of the meeting. If we could consider moving and going into executive session at 6:55 PM.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Barker,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman King.
Votes unanimous. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you for being here.
I guess I can't.